The curfew covers 1 square mile of downtown LA, and this is the second consecutive night the curfew isn't in effect, and it will go on until necessary.
We did see protesters today, and they did clash with law enforcement after mostly peaceful protests throughout the day. The question now, how is it looking as that curfew is underway? At 8:01, we go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos in the downtown area. Ed.
And Christine, yes, the clock has hit 8 o'clock, which means we're now in the second night of this city curfew in the downtown area, the 1 square mile, and LAPD ready to start enforcing that curfew. Joe will give you a look. We are at Main. The cross here is Temple. It's on the east side of City Hall. There is the LAPD skirmish line. They've been moving in more enforcements. On to the other side, that is part of the larger protest that began a few hours ago over at Pershing Square, and they marched on to the west side of City Hall over on Spring Street, and that's where it got very hectic, and that's where from Skyfox just a couple of minutes ago you saw some of the arrests being made in that area by that group that splintered off. This is the other group, and the live look now at Skyfox give you an idea of some of the arrests. As we were talking to one of the LAPD commanders here saying yes, they are making arrests at that other location. Here at this location at Main and Temple, they are pretty much in a standoff right now. Past 8 o'clock, this crowd of perhaps as we look at it, maybe about 100 or so of these protesters from the Pershing Square area that moved over here. They are chanting at police saying they will not leave, they will not go, even though police are telling them 8 p.m. it's curfew time. It's time to move, to continue moving along the city. And these protesters, some of them waving flags, others with signs, really taking target at ICE and some of the derogatory comments they're making, but they're saying they're not leaving anywhere. So at least at this point over here on the eastern side of City Hall, it's pretty much a standoff. LAPD with their skirmish line. As we've been seeing through the last couple of hours, LAPD has been trying to seal in the big, large crowd of protesters. And over about an hour or so ago, over at Spring and Main on the west side of City Hall by Grand Park, they had them sealed in there, and then there really was, in effect, chaos at City Hall. Listen to some of this as the mounted patrol moves in. Listen. A wild scene outside City Hall Grand Park as they brought in the mounted patrol and used them to push back the crowd. At that point, it was a couple hundred strong. Those bangs you heard going off, not fireworks from the crowd, the protest. It was really the flash grenades that the police were lobbing in to try to disperse the crowd. But that mounted patrol with those horses strung across, maybe a dozen of those, so cleared out the street very quickly, cleared out Spring, pushed the crowd back as you're watching in the Grand Park. And then it was just a matter of moving in there, continuing the operation, continuing the arrest. And as it's mooted now, they are actively making arrests on that group. As we come back out live to this location, Joe will give you a look. Some more LAPD reinforcements coming in, another tactical squad coming in here, moving into Main and Temple. This is the east side of City Hall. They're getting ready to enforce the curfew because you still have protesters here. My count, maybe an estimation of 100 or so, who say they are not leaving even though the curfew has hit 8 o'clock. So LAPD, what we've been seeing the last couple of hours, they don't, in a sense, I think, not wanting to play, as I've been saying, this cat and mouse game with protesters the last couple of nights, where the protesters quickly move from one location and then they run off to another location, and they have LAPD patrols on the move, on the run. LAPD, it seems to me, particularly tonight, is in the last couple of hours trying to cage them in, to block them in, if you will, on the grids a couple of blocks around, and then move in, start making arrests. And that's what we may have here taking place as LAPD fortifies the line over here on the Temple side of City Hall. And then we had some, I just noticed some convoy of CHP black and whites rolling by, moving up on Main, as they're obviously watching the freeway, making sure that this crowd, once it does begin to disperse, doesn't make a run on the freeway, the Hollywood freeway, and they have problems there. So still, ladies, at this point, it's a very tense situation here. Past 8 o'clock, curfew time in this 1 square mile of downtown LA, and it remains to be seen how this is going to be played out. But LAPD waiting here a little bit. They're bringing in some more of their tactical lines, bringing in some more resources, just in case this goes the other way.
So, Ed, as we've watched the skirmish lines move from time to time during the different nights of protests, have you been stationary, or have you had to move your location as well?
No, we've been actually also part of that, and again, cat and mouse game, because you've got to keep moving. The protesters, in that sense, realize that they stay in one sense, and I'm guessing at this point, estimating, they're an easy target for arrest, so they keep moving. The group keeps splintering off and moving, keeping LAPD on the run. So when that happens, we've got to move as well, moving from a couple blocks over where those arrests were taking place from Skyfox a little while ago over to this location, where something no doubt will be happening here as we hit the 8 o'clock hour. Police, I must tell you, as they begin to redevelop, another squad coming in over here to your right, Joe. I'll get out of the way, give you a look at that. So again, they're bringing in some more reinforcements thinking when they start to clear this crowd, they want to really protect City Hall. Joe gives you a look right up top. See, you talk about City Hall over here. This is, Main and Temple. Look at that. That's something we've seen this entire area. The City Hall, the main center of Los Angeles government, city government, surrounded by a very strong enforcement of LAPD tactical squads. And then you have on the backside here the Spring Courthouse, the federal U.S. courthouse. That's protected by National Guardsmen on the other side, over there on the Spring side. And then you have the LA County Sheriffs over there on that line too. So they are very much concerned with protecting some of the main aspects here of downtown Los Angeles. I was talking earlier to Alex ladies, about you going through the famed jewelry district downtown, going over the Persian Square to cover that protest, and it was, to be honest with you, sad, because many of them, the jewelers there, already had their windows and their front entrances boarded up with plywood. Usually you have the metal security gates that come down at night. They had those, and then they put reinforced plywood over that. A sad sign that, certainly a lot of the businesses here aren't feeling that safe with this curfew underway. They're not taking any chances.
Ed, last night, at what point did police go, "You stragglers, now we arrest you"? Was there something that triggered them from allowing them to kind of hang out on that corner that was behind you, and then what? Eventually they were arrested?
I think that was the case. Again, looking at the clock, looking at the thought of the curfew, and they were very vocal about saying it's 8 o'clock. We have a curfew in effect now on their loudspeakers, and they didn't, right at 8 o'clock, move in and start trying to clear the crowd, just as they are tonight, I think, in a sense, giving them a chance to move on, trying to hope that it ends peacefully. But at some point, as we have seen from Skyfox, and frankly, we're probably going to see here, they're going to move in and make some arrests. So in terms of what ignites the crowd, I think it's just the point where LAPD says, we have a curfew by the authority of the mayor, and we've got to enforce it.